Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day so far. In today's news, I'll be breaking down some entertainment news, some social and cultural news, as well as some political news as well. So just jumping right into it, just wanted to lead with this story. So Tim Pool, who's on YouTube, pretty well known. If you're not familiar with him, he's a podcaster, has a YouTube channel called Timcast and Timcast IRL that does long form podcasts and has various guests on his channel. He recently released a single called Only Ever Wanted and is now skyrocketed. It's getting very popular on YouTube as well as iTunes. So just taking a look at this article here from the Post Millennial that breaks it all down. Timcast Only Ever Wanted skyrockets to the top of iTunes charts. And there's Tim Pool right there. And that's drummer Pete Parada. You may be familiar with him. He was formerly of The Offspring, then was recently excommunicated from the band based on his medical status. So just taking a look though, Tim Pool's Timcast Records new single Only Ever Wanted has skyrocketed to the top of the charts. He also created a label now with this song Timcast Records. So within a day of the release, the tune ranked number 2 on iTunes and became the number 1 song in alternative rock. So currently it's still number 1 on the alternative rock charts, but it skyrocketed all the way to number 2 just in about a day's time. If you're interested in buying the song, I'll put the link in the description below, and I'll put the link to the YouTube video as well. But this is Tim replying to it, as it got closer, number 3, number 2. But he's kind of breaking the mold. He's been a singer for most of his life, besides being a well-known journalist and a podcaster and YouTuber, but now he's breaking out into different avenues. He has different shows like Tales of the Inverted World and Pop Culture Crisis on his channel. Full disclosure, I am a member of timcast.com. This is not a paid advertisement. I'm not being paid in any way, shape, or form to do this. Just wanted to do this out of the goodness of my heart, and I wanted to support his channel and what he's doing. But just taking a look here. So if you're interested in buying it on apple.com, that'll be the picture art there, and I'll link that down below on the YouTube video as well. It's already still trending, and it's got over 1 million views in 2 days, so it's wildly successful. And if you are interested in joining his site, there's timcast.com, so you can click on that and sign up. And he does have stuff on YouTube that you don't have to pay for as well, but if you want to support him, you can do that as well. So I just wanted to touch on that, and now it's very interesting that he's taking a different approach, especially with this song. It's not political at all. He does talk about politics a lot on his channel with various guests. He also talks about other topics as well, but he's going in a different avenue with this song. Just wants to appeal to a mainstream audience. So I think it's very interesting, his approach and how he's tackling this, and hope the best for him and wish him well. Okay, so moving on to some other entertainment news. I did a previous video a few days ago about Batman the Caped Crusader. Was recently nixed or removed from the lineup coming up on HBO Max. If you're not familiar, HBO Max is part of Warner Brothers Discovery. And they're recently making some changes. A lot of projects are being dropped, including the Batgirl movie. The whole Flash movie is in flux. And then along with this animated series, a number of other shows that were canceled as well. But there is some good news for Batman Caped Crusader fans, because it doesn't looks like that it may still be on, just not with HBO Max. It's being reported that it's drawing interest from Apple, Hulu, and Netflix. So it could be on one of those streaming platforms in the near future. I'll keep you guys posted with that if anything does update with that, because I was a big fan of Batman the Animated Series growing up, and this is kind of like a reimagining from what Bruce Timm, who was directing it. He was also the director and creator from the Batman the Animated Series, the original one. So according to his words, he was kind of hamstrung a little bit with making it kid-friendly, so to speak. Now, with this, he can kind of have a little more liberty and make it a little bit darker. Obviously, Batman's a pretty dark character in general, but so he's going to hopefully shop it out to other groups and other businesses. So hopefully it gets picked up, and it was being reported by The Hollywood Reporter. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. There's the concept art for it too. Moving on now to some more social and cultural news. So a few days ago, this video went viral. This is from the New York Post. Texas realtor Esmeralda Upton spews anti-Indian vitriol, and Curry, you know what, Bitches. So she we don't know the whole story on this, but because that part wasn't caught on camera, the initial interaction. I'm not going to play it. I don't want to promote or condone her actions, but I will briefly read what she said to these Indian women. So a Texas realtor has been charged with making terroristic threats after she was caught on camera hitting 4 Indian women while calling them blank, curry, blank, B-word. So Esmeralda Upton, 58, was arrested Thursday in Plano, Texas for the prolonged hate-filled attack, caught in a video that starts with her yelling at the women, "Go back to blank India." As we continue on here, everywhere I blank go, you Indians are blank everywhere. As she spits out at one point in a nearly 5.5-minute video of her tirade. "If life is so great in India, why the blank are y'all here?" she yells before bizarrely telling the group, "I'm Mexican, and I paid my blank way here."
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
So as you can see here, here's a still image of the altercation in question. And there's Esmeralda Upton on the right and the Indian women on the left there. So just wanted to briefly highlight that story. It's kind of nuts, but moving forward here, let's take a look. So on to more crazy news. This is from the Post Millennial. Marjorie Taylor Greene was swatted now for a third time in 1 week. So in 7 days now, she's been swatted 3 times. I did mention the 2 earlier swattings in a previous video, if you want to check that out on my channel. So it's just, I don't know where this third one came from, but the first 2 were using computer-generated voices, and they were voicing their displeasure with the Marjorie Taylor Greene's views on trans rights. She recently proposed a bill in Congress to make these medical procedures legal. So I'm sure this third one probably, if I had to guess, was along those same lines as the other 2, the reasons why they did this. So just briefly reading, Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, was swatted for a third time in less than a week on Friday night, and she announced on Twitter. So last night was another call to have me swatted, but each time, luckily, no issues. Nobody was injured. The Rome Police Department in Georgia responded again, and were able to handle the situation, able to determine that there were swattings. So at this point now, I mean, if they want to attempt anything further, I'm sure protections have been put in place. So I don't know what else to say really with that. It's kind of ridiculous that 3 times in 1 week to swat somebody is outrageous, and I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So we can have differing views, but the point of it is to just discuss it peacefully and open public, not to resort to these type of measures. But it does explain swatting. I'll just read this briefly if you're not familiar. Swatting is a criminal harassment tactic where the culprit deceives emergency services into sending an armed response team to another person's address. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and now Friday. So if you think about it, it was really 3 times in like 4 or 5 days. So that's just breaking it down briefly. I'm not going to read all this, but yeah, they changed it up a couple of times, but the first couple of times they said it was because of her recent proposal for the bill. So I just wanted to highlight that. Then finally, I just wanted to follow up on another story that I had been going through, and this has to do with Elon Musk and the Twitter dispute between himself and the CEOs of Twitter, including Parag Agrawal. So recently, just to catch you up to speed, when Elon was trying to buy the company, they did an overarching view of 100 accounts to determine which ones were spam bots or not. And they determined it was around 5 to 10%. So with that small sample size and Elon's doubts, he kind of questioned that, and that's why they're kind of in a legal dispute right now. There's a $1 billion buyout clause. If Elon, either way, if Elon wins or if going the other way. So there's kind of $1 billion. It's either $1 billion or it's going to be $44 billion. So obviously at this point, Twitter wants them to buy it, Elon to buy it at 44 at the value he proposed it for. Now, I'm sure that may get negotiated down with this case, even if he does buy the company, but there's still indications that he may not. But just looking at the story here from the Daily Mail, judge orders Twitter to hand over to Elon Musk 9,000 accounts they used in 2021 audit. to estimate the number of bots as he tries to back out a $44 billion takeover. So this was ruled by a judge in Delaware. That's where the case is being taken place. And obviously the first time it was 100. Now this is 9,000. So this is a greater pool. And this is from a 2021 audit they did. So this is it was at the end of 2021. So obviously with this information, Elon can take a look at it and determine how many bots out of those from that other audit are, so he can have some more definitive information. 100 is kind of a small sample size, so 9,000, you get a larger pool of accounts, so might get some better results, whether they're good for Elon or if they kind of confirm his notions with everything going on. Remains to be seen. I'm sure we'll probably find that out in the coming days. I'll let you guys know about that as well. Just going over briefly, Musk has argued Twitter was dishonest on the number of false or spam accounts, prompting strong denials and a lawsuit from the social media firm that has led to a trial set for mid-October. Okay, so what I was alluding to earlier was this quote here. Even if Musk's experts come to a different conclusion about the number of spam accounts on Twitter, that would not amount to a breach significant enough to let him break the buyout contract, Twitter attorneys argued. So if it's within the threshold, then Elon still has to go ahead and buy the company. But if it's greater, then Elon could say that he was lied to in a sense, and that would break the deal on his end, and then he would get $1 billion. So that's the buyout clause that I mentioned earlier. So this has to do with the whistleblower, Peter Zatko, or Mudge. Its complaint to U.S. authorities accuses Twitter of issuing untrue statements on account numbers because if accurate measurements ever became public, it would harm the image and valuation of the company. Obviously, if that came out, the stock price would go down, and then the valuation of $44 billion that Elon was set to buy it for would change significantly. It would drop, and then he could still buy the company, but it would be at much less of a price, or much lower price. So more details to come on that. Obviously, the main trial will be set on October 17th. More details come out. I'll let you guys know about that as well. That's going to do it for this video. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Comment down below if you have any opinions on any of the topics I mentioned, including on Tim Pool and his new music video, Only Ever Wanted, or on the other various news topics I covered today. So you can find me on Twitter at Brian_Barsoon, on Rumble at BB_news, on Instagram at Brian Barsoon, and on Truth Social at BrianBars89. Thank you for watching, and take care.